Hello and welcome back to Cynthia's Conversations. And our today topic is one of the topic that is really personal to me, autism. And when I talk about autism, it's really hit home hard because I'm a mother of two autistic daughters, and it's like I can sit here and talk about my daughters from now to tomorrow, because I remember when I first heard the word autism, I didn't know what it means and what the future holds for these girls. And I can remember then the girls was about 4 years, and the daughter said, "Oh, I think they're on the autism spectrum," and I'm like. And then she go back and I'm like, why can't they talk? Why can't they speak? Why can't they do this? And then she goes back again and say, oh, it's because of autism. And, I had to take like a 3 months course to read about what autism was. So on today's panel, let me introduce, my beautiful friends as usual. On my right, I have Amaka, the beautiful Amaka, the crazy one. And then I have on my left, the sense of reason.
Hello. Hi.
So the topic for today is autism. And the reason why we're talking about autism is the fact that a lot of, I would say, our African continent,
Third world, really.
Our third world, the way we tend to do the blaming aspect of autism or any type of disability at all, in a family, it tends to be maybe the woman have done something wrong, or maybe the child was cursed, or maybe your family has this, but statistically at the moment it's like 1 in every 6 boys born with autism, and it's more actually common with the girls. And the part of this we want to talk about is how family relates to any of their family member that has autistic child, and how it impacts on our relationship with our counterpart, your partner or boyfriend or girlfriend, and how it impacts in our friends. You get what I mean? And to talk about this as well, I have Yvonne, who happened to have an autistic child herself, just the way I have 2 of it. So I will shift this to you, Yvonne. When your child was first diagnosed, what was your first reaction?
God, where do we start? Autism, like my friend has rightly said, autism is something that was so strange until even when you're told that your child has autism, it just sounds like your child is Greek, because it doesn't make sense. To me, I thought, oh, autism is something that, okay, yeah, she has autism, so what do we do? What medication do we take? But over the years, I've come to realize that autism is a lifelong condition. It's supposed to be a neurological disability that impacts the social aspect of one's being. So autism, in my own opinion, in my own definition, because I actually created a definition for it to help me understand what it is. For me, autism is just impacts the social aspect of the brain. So with autism, you have a lot of social disorder. It's very difficult for them to relate and interact socially, but every other part of the brain is intact, so obviously the other functions will work. So that's the way I understand autism. So I try as much as possible to work with the child to the best of her abilities by trying to use the other abilities that are intact, while still working on the other sides that are not intact.
No, the question was
how
did you take it? How did you take it?
Yeah.
When the child was first diagnosed.
Okay. My first reaction when the doctor said to me, "Your child has got autism," I sat back and then I looked at the doctor and I said, which school did you graduate from?
No, God forbid. That's the black people's conversation. As soon as you say...
That's what she said.
Yeah.
No, that's what I said to the doctor. I said, what school did you graduate from? Are you a proper doctor? What the hell are you talking about?
Okay,
That was
to cut you short. Why I'm just talking as an outsider. I don't have. What led you to go to the doctors? Was it like Cynthia said, her girls were not talking or were not developing like her other two children? Yeah. What made you take your child?
Okay, in my case, my daughter had a normal development.
Yeah, they have a child.
So she had a normal development. Everything was okay. We had no problems. The health visitor was there. All the monthly targets were met.
Okay.
She had started babbling. She had even started calling Mama, Baba.
Okay.
Like that. Until about 14 months, she woke up and wouldn't even answer me. I was calling her, I wouldn't even answer.
Okay.
You know? And the first concern was, oh my God, my child is going deaf. It was she was going deaf. So this wasn't a case. There was nothing, no suspicion, nothing whatsoever.
Very interesting. The reason why I asked this is because I have a friend. I mean, I know I'm going to let you talk because I'm just asking as an outsider, right? Reason why I asked why you did this thing that you just said that she was normal until she was 14. And remember before then you had said that you always think people think is the witchcraft or somebody. I have a friend who has an autistic daughter now. Educated people, and they believe that their child was done by someone because the child. I didn't see the child as a baby. Fair dues to them, but that the child was normal, was making sounds, was talking, was walking. Then all of a sudden, this child stopped doing these things. The child was possessed, so they're going to church. You know, so which is why it's very. I've never heard this from you, which is why it's very interesting to. Wow.
Yeah. So for me, there was a debate on telly about, different people's perspective. And there was one man who really caught my attention. He couldn't have put it clearly the way I would have liked to put it. Yeah. He said, and I quote, "My wife and I had a baby and my baby was born. When my child turned 14 months, my child died. We buried the child and then we got back another child and we started the journey with a child we don't know."
Yeah.
So in his words, I lost a child and had a child. So when he said it, I'm like,
Yeah, but
that literally was my definition.
Does it work that with every child?
No.
But you know when
they
they said autism is a huge spectrum.
Yeah.
This is the word of
somebody who's autistic.
No, but it's a word of unknown. Because I remember my daughters, they are twins, by the way. They walk normally, they crawl normally, but at that, like 14 months, one of the girls used to do now what I know that is called the deaf sound, which is and I'm like, I have two other children. They were, my son at 11 months, he could say, the worst bad things you could ever say in a different language.
He hasn't changed very much.
He hasn't changed from that.
But we love him still.
So these two, at that point, I was like, I remember my first encounter with a health visitor. I didn't even know what a health visitor was. And I said to her, I said, there is something different about these girls.
And both of them were like that?
So when we went for like a test, and then we find out that one of the girls was actually 75% deaf. So she has to wear a hearing aid for a lot of years. But the really thing that I want to share with my viewers is they tend to put the blame on the woman. It must be something you have done in your past. It must be someone in your family. I just want you to know that you are not alone. Autism has nothing to do with what you have done, because genetically they can't prove anything from the parents to this. So it's not like is transferable. It's not like, you know, I had the gene, then I passed it
I remember
on.
there was a time they were saying it was the MMR injection, and it was children that take.
There are some.
Well, they've thrown that because they threw that out the window because they don't take that anymore.
A lot of families still think that the autism has a link to the MRI.
But those that didn't take it.
But what about those people that didn't take it? My question is, especially the part that I want to discuss on this topic is how we Africans look at disability
and how we
work with it. Because I remember when I was in Nigeria in 2013, and we had gone to the airport to wait for my sister who was coming from Ireland at that time. And there was a lady who was sharing a leaflet at the airport about children that were deaf. And she shared the leaflet, and then she asked people to give whatever they can. And I'm reading it, and I'm like, I've seen a lot of people who actually have disabled children, that these children are local. They never see the sunlight. You know, I've seen parents, I've been at the airport and I've seen a child, because I have 2 autistic children. I know when I see one. And the mother literally distanced herself from this boy. All the boy wanted at the airport was a bottle of water, but they have a restriction that you can't take the water to pass the security. So my question was, this woman on her pre-booking said, I have a special needs child, because if she have done that, then they will let her test the water and then give the bottle to the child. Because I travel a lot with my daughters, I don't limit what they can do, because sometimes we tend to say, oh, because they have autism, they might not be able to cope with this. But sometimes these children, they will literally surprise you on the ability of what they can do.
Which is why I was emphasizing on the fact that autism just affects one part of their brain. Their intelligence is there, and if we, obviously with everybody, if we can give them a chance, they will show you they're intelligent, they know what is going on. It's just their abilities, they need a bit more help to be able to do what any of us can do on a normal situation, and that's just what it is, you know. But like you rightly said, the which makes for a very good conversation is the issue of us and the way we relate to autism. Because autism is still an unknown, even in the developed world,
yes,
right? It's still an unknown. So going back home now, we still have years to even catch up to where the developed countries are. So because we don't know it, then obviously we need answers, and when people need answers, it's very easy to go anywhere you want to go. You know, it's like, I mean, even with just general look at what's going on with churches. People go to churches for different reasons.
A pastor once told me in 2013 when I went home with the girls and said, Madam, if I pledge in his altar to say what I can do in his uncompleted building, that my children will speak. And I said to him, and I said, well, if you can actually do what you just said, I don't think you will be in an uncompleted building. I think when we are faced with a situation like this, we tend to look for answers and the places
in unexpected ways.
I think the biggest problem with we Africans, especially a lot of I have friends who have autistic children that you can clearly see is acceptance.
Yes.
If you as a mother don't accept your child disability, you will not have the ability to care for that child. The only thing that they want is love
and stability
and care and stability. I say that all the time, because you know, I can sit here and something happen out of my routine and I can adapt to it. Unfortunately, with a child with autism, it's a routine, and that is one thing that I said. Sometimes when I said to people, I said, I can see myself putting my girls in an institution. As long as I can breathe and I'm alive, I will care for these 2 girls, because I have learned so much for them.
Exactly. Oh, there's a
as the
right,
person.
can I come in as an outsider?
Yeah.
can I just come in as an outsider that has lived with people, that children, right? People have different ways of dealing with it. So your own way of acceptance is totally different from her own way of acceptance.
Yeah.
What you think, what one person thinks is acceptance is how we're dealing with another person, an outsider, I think, right, I'll give you an example. The people that have children with autism, like you say you've accepted.
It takes me a long time.
No, I didn't know you when your children were
it was tough.
No, right.
It was tough.
To you, you've accepted that your children and your actions.
Yeah.
Wait, hang on a minute. Your actions to you is of acceptance.
Yeah.
To you, right?
Yeah.
But to some other people, their own action. You said, fair enough, and I respect for that your children would never, your girls would never
be in institution. Absolutely, as long as I live.
Because you can mentally handle it. Not everybody. And it doesn't mean because they agree at the end of the day that a child is going. I'm just saying as an outsider, I don't know what I would do.
Yeah, go on.
Doesn't mean that they love that child less or they've accepted that child's autism less than. No, let me just. Do you understand?
I agree.
Right, that's yours.
I agree.
Right.
You
Fine.
know, I'm not saying that those who put their kids in institutions are wrong.
No, you said you accept it. Look, now some people with their own acceptance,
I'm not
they're
saying
still
that.
searching. Well, let me finish. Like back home, people are searching for answers, and the only place that can get their answers, let me finish, is in church. Is who? Now here, there's some people that the children have autism. Now they are searching for answers because everybody's searching for answers.
Oh yeah.
Now they'll go to the doctors. They'll read all the book. They'll search the internet. They'll go on all the forums. So really and truly back home, it's difficult for them. So them going to the churches is the closest thing they can do. Yeah, so everybody, and it doesn't mean that they haven't really accepted, because the people here, that are doing the same thing.
No, I tell you what.
But haven't to.
No, hang on a minute. The difference between we here and the people in the third world is this. Here, I don't believe it has anything to do with witches and wizards.
Because they don't have any other option.
No, answer. Hang on. When you are in despair, when you are in that situation, people tend to seek answers in different ways.
Yes.
I accepted that. That is not, we both agree on that. The fact that, I tell you, Amaka, when I was told that my two daughters were different for a good half an hour,
imagine.
Yeah. I was stunned. I couldn't say a word. The room went silent. And the thing that was going through my head was, are you telling me that the twins daughters that I have might not be able to speak? Might not be able to go to uni. They might not go to
I can't imagine that.
I can't even speak with them. And I remember getting home that night and I shut all my blind on. And I was sitting on the sofa. It was a cold winter, but I was sweating.
Of course, you sweat now.
It was absolutely cold, freezing winter. I sat on the sofa. The heater was on, but I was sweating because I'm like, and then on the same time I'm asking God, I say, why both of them? And on that same question, I will answer myself, who do I think deserve it among the two girls?
Exactly. Yeah.
It's something that you wouldn't even wish someone that you hate, leave alone. Say, okay, why the two? And then you ask yourself on the same sentence, who on the two girls you think deserve it? Who that deserve? You get what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but for me, I don't say it is wrong for those who put their children in institutions. Some people can mentally cope. I cope with it. Every one of us cope with it in a different way.
Says you are normal.
Exactly. 17 years along the line, I think I'm more autistic than my kids.
Let me
exactly.
Because the reason why I said that is, if I wake up in the morning and I plan my day and something else changes.
Oh, my dear friend.
Oh my God, I'm literally like, this is not what I planned, because obviously mentally, this girl has to be prepared of what's to come next.
Yeah.
what's next, and if anything change in between,
it probably affects you more than it affects the girls.
The girls, you get what I
Because
mean?
they're thinking ahead for the girls. That's what I found out.
Let me touch on what you just said now. When you get the diagnosis and you're told that your child has autism, these are the different reactions. First of all, people react, like you said, you came home, you shut the door. Now, you either, 1, accept it, 2, straight out denial, or 3, rubbish it and just say that's complete
they're
bullshit.
having a laugh.
You understand? So these are the reactions, and that's why when I see different parents with their children with autism and I talk to them, the reaction straight away tells me where they are.
How long did it take you to accept yours?
I didn't accept it.
Okay, I'm glad.
I went straight from, I was told in the morning, like, your daughter, have you heard of autism? I think your daughter has autism. And it took me just about 30 minutes to go, okay, so what do we do? What next?
Okay.
And at that,
Okay,
what do we do?
At that point, we would.
At that point, there was no. In fact, I've never ever sat down to think. I didn't do that. I didn't do the think. I didn't. I went into super high drive. Okay, what next? All right, let's go. Okay, yeah. What? Where? Yeah. Okay. Laptop out. Research, and then I was like, oh, what did I do wrong? What did I do? And I remember
the father smoking.
Yeah, and I remember asking my friends, my relations. I said, do you think I did something?
Or maybe it's in our family from.
Yeah, and then somebody actually said to me, yeah, I think it's something you did. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, sure, maybe, okay, okay, what's the news? Okay, is there any medication? And it's been like that ever since.
Really?
I haven't yet
sat down and thought
to grieve.
Yeah.
If I have to use the word grieve, I haven't done that. It was just, what next? Okay, let's go.
Yeah.
All right, and I'll be like, boom,
and what
boom.
is that effect it has on you as a person?
Exactly. That
what effect does that? Do you have other children?
Straight away.
Do you have other children?
Yeah, I have other children. This is my
older
last.
or younger?
Older. This is my last child that has this diagnosis. So I've got 2 other children in front. So straight away, when I was like, okay, what next? I was like, oh my God, how do I reconcile handling this and handling that?
Yeah.
Because straight away I've divided my kids into 2 categories.
Yeah.
I'm going to take this and I'm going to take that. You understand? So I'm going, okay, well, I have to do that, But while I'm researching this, I'm also having an eye on that. But the thing is, we're human. Yeah. You find that you tend to veer more to the child with disability
than the one needs you the most. What that you think needs you most.
Yeah.
Funny enough.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
It's difficult because they think they need you the most because they can't speak.
Yes.
So you're trying to speak.
Yes.
And second guess what they'll say.
Do you know what I always said to people? Just imagine you want to express yourself but you can't.
I know.
So you will do it in a way that will have the other person's attention. Like I said about myself, I had to go to like 12-week course. I think at that time it was called the early bird.
Yeah.
And to actually learn what autism was, because it's a word that I've never heard in my entire life. Yeah. And I was thrown in this unknown territory.
Did you ever get counselling? Do they offer counselling?
I don't think I was ever offered counselling.
Actually, yours is different from, I think, let me give you the reason why my reaction was different. I had heard of autism.
Oh, I never did.
I did. I had a friend whose son in front of me was diagnosed autism. So I had heard of it. That was the first time. But you see, I heard about it. It's a boy. I saw it with him. He was like the extreme case.
Okay.
So when I had autism, my definition was the definition of what I saw with him.
With him.
So when the doctor said to me, your child has autism, that was why the response is, which school did you go to?
Yeah.
Do you know what you're talking about? I actually went across...
What country was this?
This was in Southeast. I actually went across the table and I
grabbed him.
The person's shirt because I was
how
like,
dare you?
How dare you? You don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, I know autism.
Is not like the
one I know.
I said, look, my friend has son has autism, and this is autism, this, that. He said, no, actually, go and do it. It's a spectrum. It's a huge spectrum. Is this, is that. And then I sat down, and when he said that, I'm like, okay. 30 minutes, and I was like, okay, what's the way forward? Okay, how do we go? Because at that point in time, my mind is, he still doesn't know what he's talking about, because I can't see my daughter going the way that boy was, you know. So for me, it just went straight to, and it's been like that ever since. But I think with the years going, I started to learn more. I started to see more, and I was beginning to say, oh, okay.
Even now that your daughter is in his 20s, have you accepted it?
She hasn't. But you hadn't.
No, as in, I didn't, for me, I didn't have time to think about whether I'm accepting or not accepting. It was just, let's go. Yeah. Let's just do something about it.
Is it still like that now?
No, it's not like that, because now I've learned a lot more. I'm a bit more relaxed now, because now I can see the possibilities. I found out that actually she can learn things, but just a different way.
Yeah.
You know, we've now seen, but that comes with experience and knowledge. Now I have more knowledge than I had back then.
So how do we transfer what we learn to other people out there? To say, number one, you do not have to blame yourself if your child is diagnosed with any type of disability, because we love the blame games. You know, it must be how she's this. Number two, let no pastor or native doctor tell you otherwise. Autism at this particular moment does not have a cure. You need to learn to manage it. No, and I tell you, the first step to that is your acceptance as a parent, because I think the biggest part of it is you actually accepting that your child is different, and then you can learn. Love this child regardless of whether they have autism. Because I tell you, my twins' daughters have changed me as a person. Because, you know, 17 years ago, I could give a shit. You know, I could literally...
And then what impact does it have? You haven't spoken how it impacts the siblings, both older and younger.
I think, you know what? I think, sorry to cut you. I think autism, in my journey with my daughter, in the process of learning, you know, I was able to see that actually it's not as bad as I thought it was. I'm coming to the impact. Because of the knowledge I now have, I'm able to share the knowledge with the siblings. Initially, I had nothing. For the siblings, they were confused. They didn't know what to do. Like, I'll give you a typical example now. When you're traveling in the airport and then the child starts having a tantrum, it was so embarrassing for them, you know. So I'm in a dilemma, because I'm trying to calm the child. At the same time, I'm understanding that these other children were embarrassed with what was going on. So I'm having to think, okay, you know what? Move aside, step away. Just go so that no one sees you. I'll be here because I've got to be.
Yeah,
you know, but over the years, you know, they've seen that and they're like, oh no, actually I want to be with mommy.
Yes.
Because of the kind of children we have.
That's what, yeah. But the thing is, I've also had to luckily for me, where I was living, they had something called siblings workshop, sib workshops, where they actually got in siblings to ask them how they feel about their autistic brother and sister. And I remember my boys, I took the boys there, you know, and...
Okay, if you don't have that where you are, what do you suggest?
Well, just talk to your child.
I think that...
Talk to your child, because my boys, like, when they even mentioned the sibling children, the boys were like, oh, I'm not sure. But then when they went, it was mind-blowing. Because when they
don't have that.
Yeah, because when they came out from the workshop, they're like, mommy,
okay,
we don't even have...
I think the parents in the third world that don't have that kind of support.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I think it's only fair for parents to sit the other sibling, whether they are young or older, and explain. Because I remember when the girls were diagnosed, the first thing that I did was to sit my son down and say, look, this is what the doctor said about the girls. So sometimes they might not be able to respond to what you are trying to tell them, because he was as young, you know, and like it was about 4 years, 4.5 years. So I was able to say, you know, sometimes the girls might not be able to do the things you want them to do because they're different. And the child wants to ask why they're different, because obviously they can't explain this, they can't explain that. So to those ones who are in the third world, who want to explain to the older siblings on why, you have to be honest. The most important thing is to be honest about these children and say, look, these children are different, they can't do this and they can't do that. And then after the twins, I had another daughter, you know, so to her, she was looking up to these two older sisters who she wanted them to do some certain things with her. So I have, as she grows up, I have, and again, another thing that helped me right here in Newport was the young carers. So when my son was a bit older, I had to introduce him to a charity called the Young Carers. The Young Carers is where, you know, our older siblings or younger siblings look after anybody, might be your mom, your dad, and they actually help. These young carers meet once a week, and they talk about their roles, and sometimes they just let them don't to talk about who they care for, and just let them be children. You get what I mean? I think that helps. So if you are in the undeveloped world like the third world, and you have, you know, like siblings who are struggling, I think the parents need to sit them down and tell them the truth, the diagnosis, and what autism is. And it's not really just about autism, any disability. So you will need to be able to say this with about it. I think this, like I said, I can go on about this topic for the whole night, because it's a topic that is really close to my heart, and I can tell you these two twins, they are the most precious things, and I'm absolutely lucky to be their mother. So if anybody have any question about autism, I'm happy to answer it and tell you how I cope with it, how I deal with it, and how I'm still dealing with it, because it's a learning process. We all learn from each other. So you can leave your comment below, and I'm glad to share this with my two best friends. And till the next topic is goodbye from us.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Thank you.